Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Cooler this afternoon with scattered showers in the forecast. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 50s. A couple of folks could see the low 60s. We're dropping into the low and mid 50s through the overnight, early Thursday morning. Partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Very small opportunity for rain. Many of us stay dry. Highs climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Dropping into the mid 50s overnight, early Friday morning. A mostly cloudy sky Friday afternoon. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible. Temperatures climbing into the mid 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, this is Eli Gold. 28 Southeastern Conference football championships, 18 national championships. This is Alabama football, and your home for the Crimson Tide Sports Network is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Can you get me a little typeset?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Tide and Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
I called it hump day.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Mike. What day is it, Mike? Let's guess what today is.
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, baby. It is hump day in the doghouse, and basically, you know,
the Cleveland Browns season is over.
Yeah, that's why not? Why not? I mean, just
the Cleveland Browns season is over.
Over. Why not? We'll get to that in a minute. We got a lot to get into today. And we're going to do it with a wide open first hour of the show before things get nuts in the second hour. Now, since I'm going to be out tomorrow with a full day of testing on this ticker of mine, we're going to get this week's episode of Beat the Big Dog in today. In fact, it's coming up later on in hour number 2. And Greg Screws from WHNT at Channel 19 is our guest picker this week. He'll be looking to better Olivia Whitmer's 3-3 mark from last week. Now, that's coming up after David Moulton of Miller and Moulton, and also the researcher for Gary Danielson and Troy Aikman, working alongside those guys in the booths. He'll make his weekly visit to discuss all things sports. I'll just fire stuff at him, and we'll see what sticks. So the phone lines are open for this first hour, especially, where you can get in right now at 256-576-4977, 256-576-4977. You can also text the show, 732-9TA-SHOW, that's 732-982-7469. You use that throughout the show. You really can use it 24/7, and then I read those and react to them on the air. Now, my personal X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The stations is at 97.7 ESPN, where you can watch the show there. You can also watch it on our YouTube channel, WZZN TV. Get the app as well, so you can listen to all of the action, for example, coming up on Friday night, where Madison Academy will be playing Mars Hill in the second round of the playoffs on Zone 2, and UAH basketball will be on Zone 3. Alabama Hoops will be on our primary air, our primary stream, and on the air, as well as they host Mercer. That'll be a blowout like it was last night against South Alabama. So the committee has come correct, and they have placed Georgia back on top of the playoff poll, citing strengthening of the Dogs' schedule with recent wins over Missouri and Ole Miss. Of course, they're not applying that to Alabama and Texas, since there's that pesky head-to-head matchup, nor really to Washington and Florida State, where Washington has a better win. And that's versus Oregon, and has played a tougher schedule than the Noles. To be honest with you, If you're going with that criteria, why isn't Washington in front of the Noles? Head-to-head thing with Texas and Alabama. It's going to be interesting to see how long they stick to that. In the past, they have put that aside. Ask Penn State and Ohio State about it. When Penn State beat Ohio State and won the SEC or the Big Ten championship, and Ohio State went to the playoff. Penn State had a couple of losses. I mean, about 2 one-loss teams. It's going to be really interesting to see at the end of the day what they're going to do with this thing. I mean, because for that matter, even with those 2 recent wins over ranked teams, Georgia's schedule is still the 65th toughest in America. Alabama's would rank number 1. Most difficult schedule. Georgia's yet to play a top 10 team. They're 3-0 against top 30 teams, while Alabama is 4-1. And it's hard to imagine that the Tide wouldn't be unbeaten as well if they had played Georgia's schedule. I mean, realistically, where would they have done with them? Where would they be? If they played Georgia's schedule and they were unbeaten, where would they be ranking them right now? 2, 3, maybe at the worst? You just don't know. Here are 2 hard truths. Alabama's close wins over Arkansas, Texas A&M, plus that debacle at South Florida where they won by 2 touchdowns in a downpour with backup quarterbacks, is still hurting this team. That perception that was developed then is still hurting this team. They've had impressive recent wins, 2 touchdowns over Tennessee, 2 touchdowns over LSU, destroying Kentucky. They've had very impressive recent wins. Remember when Georgia had several games, they did not cover the spread. They were beating people by 7, 8. They were trailing South Carolina at the half. Nobody seems to hold that against Georgia. Well, because, now they've beaten Missouri and Ole Miss. Alabama did too. So, not Missouri, but, you get the point. They beat LSU. They beat Tennessee. We'll see what Georgia does with Tennessee this week. Now, here are 2 hard truths, though. Not only is that hurting the Tide, the other hard truth is that Alabama's playing their best ball. And if they can get through Auburn on the Plains and then beat number 1 Georgia, I don't care how many one-loss teams there are. You can't keep a 12-1 SEC champion that's got 6 or 7 games against the top 30 out of the playoff. Can't do it. I mean, the flip side is, what if Georgia loses to Tennessee? What if they get upended this week and if Tennessee kicks a field goal to beat Georgia, but then Georgia beats Alabama? Does that 12-1 SEC champ also go? Dogs are a 3-point favorite right now in that game, in the SEC championship game. What if they were to be 12-1? Is Alabama's 12-1, would that be better than Georgia's 12-1? Because Alabama had lost since the second week of the season, and they would have beaten now number 1. But all things that are going to be decided. Story number 2 today is, are you freaking kidding me?
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
I mean, are you kidding me, really, with Deshaun Watson being out for the season? Dude plays his best game of the year. Goes 14-14 in the second half, leading the Browns over the Ravens in Baltimore. And now he's done for the season with a jacked up throwing shoulder. I mean, my goodness, how many more hits can that team take? No Nick Chubb, no Deshaun Watson, no Jack Conklin, no Jedrick Wills, their 2 starting tackles. I mean, they played with a 3rd-string left tackle and a 2nd-string right tackle this past week. Plus, Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit were out for much of the games against Baltimore. I mean, how is that team even 6-3? Really, how are they? I mean, if not for DeMeco Ryans, Kevin Stefanski would be the coach of the year.
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
But it's gone. Story number 3 is a great night of college hoop last night. We'll get to that. And story number 4 will be ESPN Bet went live yesterday in 17 of the 30 states that have legalized sports gambling. That I was curious about, and I did a little research to find out why. And when will Alabama get legalized sports betting? Will Alabama be last? Or will it be like the lottery? Let's see, now till maybe, I don't know, never. That one will happen? Never. Could be. Let's get our little buddy introduced here over there in that little glass room with the slanted ceiling. Playing the Platters that Matter, Stacks of Wax, answering the phones, keeping us on the air. The one and the only DJ Grizzly Grizz.
Who in the blue hell are you? What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Now, Tom. Hey, Tom.
Testosterone high today. Testosterone, whatever the it is.
It really doesn't matter what you think. It really doesn't matter what you say.
Any of you play sports?
Grizz, you know what?
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
Over!
Could be worse. You could be an Atlanta Falcons fan. Well,
I don't know if that would be
not.
worse.
Maybe not. You're still sitting pretty. You're still kind of sitting pretty good with a great defense. If you can get it right at quarterback, I mean, it's not completely over. We've seen worse make the playoffs.
The backup quarterbacks, P.J. Walker and Dorian Thompson, whatever his name is, those two guys have thrown 1 touchdown pass and 8 interceptions.
Yes.
Combined.
Yes.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. There could be possibly still a chance.
I be honest with you. No, the
Steelers have Kenny Pickett.
They're still favored over the
Lamar
Steelers.
Jackson.
Yeah, they're still favored over the Steelers.
You know what I mean?
The schedule is semi-favorable. It's just he was finally coming around. He was finally starting to come around.
Yeah.
He's only played 11 games. For
12. He's had
12 games.
Yeah.
He's played 12 games. They're 8-4 in the 12 games he's played. That's all he's played in his 12.
Yeah.
But yeah, wait a minute. We say 12, but one of those he only played a couple of plays in, and then he got knocked out of the game.
True. That is true. Yeah.
So really 11. He's played 11 full games.
11 realistically, yeah.
11 full games for them, and he's 8-3. The other one was he got knocked out of the game like 12 minutes into the game, or not even. 2 minutes into the game on real clock time. So we'll see. We'll see. Dorian Thompson, Robinson. I would actually kind of want to see a little bit more of him. I'd like to see a little more of DTR and a little less of PJW. We know what PJ Walker is going to do. He's a career, spring football league guy, backup type of guy. DTR. He could totally suck. He totally sucked in the one game he played, but he was outstanding in the preseason. And he's just a rookie out of UCLA that can make plays with his feet, whereas, P.J. Walker can't. So, anyway, it's just.
Well, I think your problem is you obviously now you owe Deshaun Watson all that money. You have a $63 million cap hit, and I don't know where you're going to look for quarterback, so I guess you're going to have to ride your really great. You have to ride a really great defense and run the ball, and just be conservative, run the ball.
Run the ball with your second, third, and fourth string running backs because you don't have that guy.
Because you don't have the guy. Yeah.
You don't have that guy. You don't have the tackles. You don't have the. Come on.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they still have 3 years left with him. He played every game at Houston. Missed very little time with Houston. Did Deshaun Watson. So I'm not ready to write it off now as the most terriblest thing that ever happened in the history of the world.
Not for the Browns,
because we have heard of worse trades. There have been worse things that have happened. But supposedly he'll be back 100%. Now, we're past the trade deadline. My sons are all texting me. They got to get a quarterback. Where? You can't trade for one. All that's left is what's on the street. What are you going to do? Go get Colin Kaepernick?
Cam Newton?
Go get Cam Newton? Where are you going? You're not getting any quarterback now. You can't even get a guy in a trade.
Brock Osweiler might be out there still. Is he still kind of in shape? Made man $40 million and retired at 30.
Hey, Bernie Kosar's right there in Cleveland. Are you kidding me? Man, where's Jake Plummer? Come on. Are you kidding me? It's just And it's just not like he's going to miss a game or two. He's done for the season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
for a fracture that I feel like that. I mean, I get it. It's like, could he play through it? No, but
he said he wanted to. He said, shoot me up. He said, shoot me up. I'll keep playing. And they told him, no. You take one more hit on this thing, this whole shoulder's going to explode.
Yeah.
Because it's everything. It's the fracture. It's the rotator. It's everything. I mean,
And he had the high ankle sprain, I think, too. So I think they talked about. So it's like, nah, just might as well just shut it down.
He was going to fight through the high ankle sprain.
Yeah.
He was. It's just it is what it is. What are you going to do? Grizz, one thing when looking at these rankings that came out last night, the one thing that we have to consider, we really have to start thinking about, is the one-loss Michigan or Ohio State team. We just assume that the winner of the Michigan-Ohio State game is in.
Right.
Because they're going to win the Big 12 or the Big 10 championship game. And the loser, who will be 11-1 and not go to the Big 10 championship game, the loser would be out. Unlike next year, like if this was next year, Michigan and Ohio State would play back-to-back weeks. Yeah, they'd be like, Michigan wins one and then Ohio State wins the other. Now they're both 12-1.
Right.
Whoever loses that game is going to be 11-1. And so now that 11-1 team has to kind of be tossed into the mixer with the other 11-1 or 12-1 type teams, mostly 12-1 type teams. And by the way, Michigan is about a 5.5, 6-point favorite in that game right now because the game is at Michigan. But that one-loss team is going to be problematic depending on how close the game was. But let's just say Michigan wins 24-20. They just win a game 24-20.
Yeah.
Ohio State, now you got to put them in the tumbler with the other one-loss teams. The Buckeyes have only played 2 top 30 teams right now. So that will be number 3 with Michigan. So they're going to play a total of 3 top 30 teams if they lose to Michigan. While Alabama will have played 6 or maybe even 7. Do you know that right now Auburn is number 28 in the Sagarin numbers and number 26 in ESPN's FPI? Is Auburn really going to drop that much if they lose a fairly close game to Alabama? Alabama's currently an 11.5-point favorite at Auburn. But if that game is a touchdown game or something like that, I don't think that Auburn would fall, that much in all the computer matrix and things like that because it'll be losing to a top 10 team. It'll be very interesting. The other one-loss teams could include Georgia, as we laid out a scenario there for Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Washington. If Oregon beats them in the Pac-12 championship game.
Yeah.
And what if, we just keep saying, the loser of that game now has to be in the – what if Georgia comes out of the SEC championship game 12-1 with a loss? What if Georgia – they're now number 1. They're now number 1. So if they get beat by then, Alabama, who knows? Maybe they'll be 7, 6, 5. Maybe they'll be 8 still. But let's say Alabama beats Georgia 31-28 in the SEC championship game. Well, is Georgia going to fall clean out? Are they going to go from number 1 to clean out? Look, it's still in play that you have to think about the possibility of putting both those teams in.
Yeah, and I think you would have to have Oregon upset or beat Washington. You'd have to have Florida State maybe lose to Louisville.
Well, Florida State's not losing to anybody. That's going to be the problem. The problem is Florida State's not losing to anybody. So then that brings, let's say Oregon does lose to beat Washington. But now Oregon is a 12-1 team that's very salty. I think Oregon's in if they beat Washington. I think Washington's out. I think they're looking for a reason to get Washington out.
It's just so weird because, I wanted to say whether taking into account in this playoff ranking for, putting Georgia at number 1 for they're down the stretch right now as they're playing a Missouri team, and I mean they got the win at the Missouri team. They beat Ole Miss. Now they got to play a ranked number 18 Tennessee team. But are they really that good of a ranking at number 18? And they're taking that into account when their only top 25 game before that was Kentucky. And then you look at Alabama, who already played Texas, Ole Miss. They beat Tennessee. They beat LSU. I mean, they already have
by 2 touchdowns,
right?
And Ole Miss, which
Ole Miss,
Ole Miss right now is
top
is
25
a top
wins. Yeah,
the top 30. Sagarin looks at the top 30.
Still got to play Georgia.
Alabama's the only team. Let's see, Alabama and Kansas State are the only teams that have played 5 top 30 teams. And like I said, when Alabama plays Auburn, their top 30.
Yeah.
Okay? And then they're going to play Georgia, their top 1. So they're going to have 7 top 30 games that they played. 7 out of their 13 games. They will have 7, half their schedule. While Michigan, against the top 30, is now 1-0 because they beat Penn State. And Ohio State is now 2-0. All right? Because they beat Notre Dame and they beat Penn State.
I just think it doesn't make any sense. And I think that these things, obviously you talk about it with Moulton all the time, how just these meetings just make no sense at all, where you're still going to take into account that when Oregon played Colorado and Texas Tech, it's better than any of the matchups that Alabama had on their schedule, let alone whatever Texas has on their schedule, that it's better and they are in front of them. I don't buy into it.
What would all of those teams' records be if they had played Alabama's schedules?
They would be 7-5 or 8-4 right now.
Yeah. And what would Alabama's schedule be if they had even played Georgia's schedule? What would their record be if they played Georgia?
They'd be undefeated right now if they played Georgia's schedule.
And they'd probably be, so where would they be? So it's all about that Texas game. It's all about that game in the second week of the season with a quarterback starting his 3rd game ever. That's what it's all about. It's going to all come down to that. And again, if I was on the Texas side of this, I'm like, well, we beat them. And you know what? Texas has not played a popcorn schedule.
No.
We got to give Texas. Texas is 3-1 against the top 30. Texas is 2-1. Or check that. Yeah, they are 2-1 against the top 10. They are 2-1. And Texas's strength of schedule is 8. Alabama's is 1, but Texas is 8. Do you know who the fraud is in all of this? You know who the biggest fraud is in all of this? Washington.
Yeah.
Do you know that in all of the matrix that they use, and then when they break down and when they're looking at this stuff and the numbers, the ESPN, Football Power Index, the FPI, and the Sagarin ratings, Washington is behind LSU and Notre Dame, 7-3 teams. They are like number 13.
Yeah.
Washington is way down there. That's where Washington is right now. Right now on a neutral field, okay, Washington would be I'm just looking at the numbers right now that they use for Vegas. On a neutral field, Washington would be about a 6-point underdog to Alabama. In Tuscaloosa, they'd be a 9-point dog. Alabama would be a 3.5-point favorite at Washington.
It's just like
Washington.
It's just like
they're the number 8 team, not the number 1 team, number 8 team.
It's just like the top 4 selection last year, where it's just like, do you really think that TCU belongs in that? Even though they did come out and beat Michigan.
And then they go out and beat Michigan.
I mean, I get it. Like, it's crazy.
One
game.
Did Michigan belong in it?
Yes.
TCU and Michigan, you could say both of them. Did Michigan belong in this thing?
Neither of them belong there.
Neither of them. Look, I said at the beginning of the season, and I hate to reiterate it, but I will. I said at the beginning of the season, 2 from the SEC, 2 from the Big Ten. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. And you know what the Sagarin rankings are right now? Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia. That's the way they sit. You know what the FPI is right now? Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama. That's the way they sit right now. How crazy is that? Because of Georgia's crappy schedule, But it's just
what do we know?
What it is.
Yeah.
What do we know?
What do we know is, even fans, like, what do fans know when you just sit there and look at it and you're just like,
we're fans.
What are these
fanatics.
people? What are these people? Why do they pay these people the amounts of money to come together and just make nonsense?
Yeah. Do you remember the things that were being said at the beginning of the year? I mean, that's the funny thing about fans, right? I mean, we're fanatical, but the fans, remember, even the pundits. I mean, the pundits more than the fans. Beginning of the year, well, that's it.
Over.
That's it.
Done.
Done.
Yeah.
Over. Saban's lost it. It's all over. They're no good.
Gone. Because if it was up to you, we're 6 foot under already.
6 foot under already. Gone.
I feel like they would have jumped everybody if this was five years ago. This 5-6 years ago, they would have been at least 5th.
Well, we say this about every other team. How many times did you hear in the middle of the season? Washington, you're probably the number 1 team in the country. Washington.
And it just blew your
Wait. How about Oregon State and Washington State? I mean, Oregon State and Washington State, look at the way they are. I mean, Oregon State and Washington
Oregon
State,
being one of the best teams in the country. The best team in the country.
What about USC? I mean, USC was number 6. What about USC? I mean, they're what a great football team USC is. USC sucks. I mean, it's just
you get blanked in a college football playoff like Washington, or like Michigan State did and Washington did. It's just like you don't deserve to talk about it. You know what I mean?
Well, no, that was a few years ago, but we don't want to hammer it too. I'm looking
or
for
no, it was
USC.
Ohio State that got blanked. Sorry, not Washington. But they're Washington the bus.
Where is Yeah, Washington scored 6 points. I mean,
7, I think.
7? Was it 24-7?
Yeah.
I thought it was 24-6, 24-7.
Maybe,
okay.
Yeah.
Where is USC in the Sagarins? I'm down to 30. Where the hell is USC? Maybe they're listed as Southern
when they
Cal.
played Washington, they weren't even ranked. So are they going to take that into account? For their great
that's
schedule?
not a great. Oh, there they are. Their USC is 19 in the Sagarin ratings. That's 7-4. So they're 19, just above Clemson. They actually have Missouri behind them. Louisville. That's another one. Louisville. They have the number 66 schedule in the country. Louisville. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, phone lines are open. I told you it's a wide open first hour of the show. Phone lines are open. If you want to get in, you can get in. 256-576-4977. What did you think about the basketball last night? Did you watch any of the basketball last night? And how concerning is the Hunter Dickerson thing to you? Because it's a little concerning to me. I'll explain when we return. It's the Thom Abraham Show, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
The End Zone Sports Bar has done it again. This time, they're bringing their jumbo wings, handcrafted burgers, Tex-Mex, and New York-style pizza to the Midtown District with their new location on McMurtry Drive Northwest opposite the Target Plaza. Tuesdays at the End Zone means half-price burgers, and Wednesday is $1 jumbo wings all day long. The End Zone also features Sunday ticket for all your NFL viewing. The newest End Zone Sports Bar in the Midtown District on McMurtry near the Target Plaza. Get in the End Zone.
Built to win.
Touchdown, Alabama!
Built for championships.
Throws intercepted, Alabama.
Built by Bama.
Alabama is still Alabama.
The Crimson Tide play here. Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide take on the Chattanooga Mocs. Our coverage begins at 8 a.m. on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Cooler this afternoon with scattered showers in the forecast. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 50s. A couple of folks could see the low 60s. We're dropping into the low and mid 50s through the overnight, early Thursday morning. A partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Very small opportunity for rain. Many of us stay dry. Highs climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Dropping into the mid 50s overnight, early Friday morning. A mostly cloudy sky Friday afternoon. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible. Temperatures climbing into the mid 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WZZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Show. Segment of the show is brought to you by Pond Lehocky Giordano. You know, injuries happen all the time in Cleveland. Well, they happen in Alabama, too. And you get these motor vehicle slip and fall accidents. Or maybe you fell down and hurt your shoulder. But if you're hurt at work or injured in an accident, call my good friends at Pond Lehocky Giordano. Not just excellent attorneys, but true advocates who will fight for you and know the ins and outs of the legal game. When you're facing tough times, you need a team in your corner who's got your best interests at heart. That's Pond Lehocky, Alabama's law or injury law firm. Pond Lehocky, 855-774-3838. I wonder if they can help me with my mouth. 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com. You know, why is it that certain teams, I think it goes to strength and conditioning. I mean, knock on wood. But some teams, you ever notice some teams, they never seem to be really affected by injuries so much, and other teams always seem to be. I remember this with Tennessee a few years ago with the Vols, where, I mean, they had like 25 major injuries on the team. And I'm like, what's going on with strength and conditioning that you have that many? I mean, you look at, I hate to say this, I know Alabama fans are going, why are you saying that? But realistically, look how relatively injury-free Alabama has been. And it's like that year in and year out, for the most part. I mean, you had the Tua thing. But for the most part, I mean, they haven't had huge, significant, long-term injuries. If a guy miss a game here, guy miss a game there, maybe. But certain teams, it just seems like they have injuries. And Cleveland's like that in the NFL. I mean, you know, injury after injury after injury. And it makes you wonder, is it just dumb luck? Or is it something that's going on in their strength and conditioning program? You know, what causes that?
I just wonder if it's that, or if it's like the level of, I guess, because I guess once you get to the pros, you may take a little bit off, but you also have that drive to constantly be better and everything like that, and be better than the other players. And
yeah, but you see it in college.
Yeah.
So I'm saying certain programs, they seem more quote unquote injury prone than others, whether it's college teams or NFL teams.
I just think, I think also franchises might not have the budget, obviously, even though we talk about it, or use the budget.
In the NFL?
Yeah. They got
money.
Or you would think, but use the budget towards that kind of thing, like Alabama would, or Ohio State, or some of the really big programs that focus on the workout room and just just the fundament, just being healthy outside of working out and doing all the types of things to stay limber and not injury prone and things like that. But I don't know. I think once you're in the NFL and you get kind of lackadaisical and you're there, maybe it's like the conditioning isn't as much as it was when you're in college. Like you don't get ran as much as Nick Saban's going to run you more than Arthur Smith is. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, it's just kind of how it is. These guys are divas. These guys are superstars. Like they're not going to be ran.
There are NFL teams that don't have injury issues, and I don't know if I agree with you there, because I think a lot of these guys, when they get to the end, remember only a very small percentage, couple of percent, 2% of the players that are playing high level D1 college football make it to the NFL. Those guys make it to the NFL because they're highly dedicated, and in the NFL, remember what the NFL stands for? So NFL stands for not for long.
Yeah.
But Roethlisberger, we don't know what Roethlisberger was doing.
What did he do every day? You know what I mean? He's just a big guy.
Just because he had a boiler doesn't mean that wasn't a guy that was solid and in the weight room and kept it. But he had constant lower leg injuries and things like that too. Maybe because he carried too much weight. I don't know. But I think that guys get to the league. I think they work hard. I don't think it's a matter of the guys not working hard.
How often did Jay Cutler work? I mean, I'm sure he worked hard, but I mean, it's just the level of working hard and the level of keeping your body conditioned. Like, not everyone is DK Metcalf. Like, no one's a specimen. You know what I mean?
DK Metcalf's been hurt.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler was never hurt. I mean, you look at guys that get hurt. Sometimes these guys that are overly muscle-bound and overly tight, I mean, you wonder maybe what Deshaun Watson, you know what I mean? Maybe, what's the common denominator here? He doesn't have his 42 masseuses.
Now.
Maybe that's why he needs a masseuse every day, a different one every single day, to massage him out and get those muscles because he's tight.
Is an absolute tank, and he is about as short as me, but yet he can sit here and play football. Devontae Smith is this tiny little guy, and he can play football and stay healthy. Knock on wood, and stay healthy.
Slender, knows how not to take a big hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just, I think some guys are just, I used to say this about Tua. I thought Tua was not very flexible. He's not very pliable, and that's why he kept having the injuries that he had. Some guys are not. It's not about muscle, it's about flexibility. It's about your tendons being able to stretch and be Gumby. All right, Gumby doesn't get hurt. The guy who's all yoked up and everything else, doesn't matter if he has tight tendons, he's going to get hurt constantly. Whereas other guys, are looser in their tendons and their joints and things like that. The flexibility is what allows a guy to continue to play forever.
Yeah, no, you need guys that are. I mean, you need guys that are not tight. You need guys that are like, what is it called? I can't even think about it right now. Yeah, flexible. Yeah.
You need them to be flexible, is what you need.
Yeah.
But remember, there was that coach.
You gotta have stunt performer type guys. Guys that can bounce off stuff.
Well, remember the guy, the coach at Cleveland when they were in the Hard Knocks, said about Stretch being overrated. Remember he talked.
Stretch is way overrated. Did you know World War I and World War II, all those guys that fought in that war, right? They did push-ups, jumping jacks, sit-ups, climbed the rope and ran. But none of this fancy, okay? Right? And they won 2 world wars. 2 world wars by doing jumping jacks, push-ups, and sit-ups. 2 world wars. You think they were worried when they're running across Normandy about stretching? Are you kidding me?
A few people might have pulled a hammy.
Well, let me see. Give me my rubber band so I can stretch to run across that beach. You got to be kidding me.
I love it. That's one of my favorite speeches.
2 world wars.
That's one of my favorite speeches about working out and
jumping jacks and calisthenics.
You tell me I got to do all that weight stuff, I'm going to go do exactly what he tells me, and about a year I guarantee I'll look very lean and I'll be looking good.
It reminds me too of Jim Harbaugh.
But what you eat too.
Harbaugh's press conference yesterday. We've been playing we were playing the Harbaugh cut about about America's team. We played that over and over yesterday. But some of the other things that he said in his press conference were absolutely hilarious. I mean, he said some things in that press conference that were so funny. His voice, he was all raspy and everything else, and they were asking him, and he says, well, they said I have some sort of a virus, but I don't get a virus. He says, viruses just, they come against me, and they just explode, and they crush up. I'm going to do, if I get a little sick, I'm going to do some push-ups and have an apple, he says. Harbaugh. Dude needs to be in the NFL.
What is the guy that was the televangelist that would like spit away the coronavirus?
Good stuff. Did you watch any of the basketball last night?
I did not, but I did listen to it.
Yeah, you listened to what? Alabama blowing out South Alabama?
Yeah. Yes,
What did you listen to? Yeah, no. I mean, the good
The
basketball.
blowout.
There was good basketball last night. Duke looked very strong last night in their win over Michigan State. I thought they looked really good. And Kansas rallying to beat a Kentucky team that was lacking some of their bigs. But that Hunter Dickinson thing, that thing is troubling me. You know, why he left Michigan. This guy for 3 years was the top guy at Michigan. He leaves Michigan to go to Kansas. And he basically came out and said it was because I had NIL was was below six figures at Michigan. He said, I went to Kansas to get paid. That's basically what he said.
Get paid.
In Maryland, he's from the Maryland area. He said he always wanted to play at Maryland. He said Maryland reportedly made a $2 million offer for Hunter Dickinson. And he decided to go to Kansas anyway.
Yeah.
Because of the money he was going to get from Kansas, not more than the $2 million, but he also had a chance to win a national championship. He feels like being at Kansas. Michigan's was kind of a mess, but he came right out and said it. He said, I know that a lot of Michigan people are going to be upset, but
paid me more.
I got to make a decision that's best for me because I'm being selfish. After 3 years at Michigan, he says, I know I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to be, labeled as selfish, but I got to go someplace where I can get paid, and I'm going to Kansas. I mean, that's where we're at. He said that the deals that he had at Michigan were less than six-figure deals, so he went to Kansas to get paid. And he said it took a lot of courage. That's what he said. He says it took a lot of courage for me to leave Michigan. I did have a legacy there, and I basically gave that up to try and be selfish and do what's best for me and my career and not what's best for anybody else's career. That's what he said.
Just threw a stack of cash on the table and was just like, you know what? It took a lot of courage, but thanks.
That kid's
I'm gonna go
7'2".
to Kansas.
You got to see this kid play, Grizz. He's
he's good.
7'2".
No, he's good.
And he. I mean, I think he had 26 points and 21 rebounds.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I'm glad to get the whole clarification of like exactly why he made the transfer. Like I know that like before I had heard that it was about money specifically, specifically, but like to really come out and say like, yeah, like I'm straight up. It's like you're just gonna pay me. I get it. If it's a job offer, we talk about it all the time. Like we would do it, like or would we do it? I mean. That's crazy though. That's much to play basketball, college basketball.
And a chance to win. Grumpy is up. Grumpy, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, man. I was going to call and ask you what all tests are you getting run tomorrow, man?
So tomorrow, So tomorrow I have electrocardiogram, which talks about the health of my heart, and I'm having a stress test. So I do the stress test and the electrocardiogram, and then I got to go home, and then I got to come back like an hour and a half later, and then they analyze it all, and they tell me what's going on with my heart and all this stuff. And my heart was so bad 7 or 8 years ago, was so bad that they contemplated putting me on a transplant list, and then it started getting better. And they put the defibrillator in my chest. I have an implant in my chest, keep my heart going, and my heart improved over the next 4 or 5 years. It improved dramatically, and then it started to slide again the last couple of years. And I was supposed to have this checkup annually, and I skipped last year's because I didn't want to know because it was sliding. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I wake up every day, so I'm good. I didn't want to go, but my cardiologist is like, you got to get in here. We have got to do this test and see if you're okay. So tomorrow they're going to check out my ticker, and Lord willing, I won't end up back on a transplant list.
Yeah, I spent, almost 15 years as a registered nurse in the hospitals around here. And you know what the number one killer in America is?
I would say heart failure, but what is it?
Procrastination.
I thought I said stress.
Well, if you were a nurse, you know what EF is, right? Your injection fraction. That's the thing. So if you're below 55, you're considered below average. If you're below 55, mine was 22. This was 8 years ago when I was diagnosed, and they called me back in. I had to have a radio station that I was working for. They compelled you to have a annual physical. And so I went in, I had my physical, and then they called me and they said, come back right away. So I went back, and they're like, do you feel fatigued? And I was like 55 at the time. I'm like, I'm 55 years old. I'm 40 pounds overweight, and I work 16 hours a day. Of course I'm fatigued. Yeah. And they're like, well, your EF was 22. You should be laying on the floor right now. They wanted to put a vest on me, a defibrillator vest. I said, I'm not doing that. And so they started me on meds for 6 months, and then it didn't really do much. And so that's when they put the defibrillator in my chest. And then it slowly came out. They put me on Entresto, which has been a miracle, a godsend. And I got all the way up to 44, which is below average. And I remember telling the doctor, I have never been so excited to be below average in my life because I moved from deadly to below average. And I actually told him to get the thing out of my chest, and he's like, no, we're just going to leave it in there. Slowly, since that time, in the last 3 years, I've kind of regressed back to about 32, 34. And so we'll see what happens tomorrow. You know?
Hey, I
they
got
were talking about
real quick trivia question here.
Yeah.
Jeff, what do these people have in common? Quarterbacks: Jeff Garcia, Joe Flacco, Mark Burnell, Neil Lomax, and Jason Campbell, and 37 other quarterbacks in the NFL.
What do they have in common? Well, that's a pretty
played for the Browns.
That's a pretty potpourri. Yeah.
They all had better passer ratings than Troy Aikman. Maybe it was the club foot. Thanks, man.
That was good.
Now he's going to make me. Well, luckily we're going to take a break.
I'm waiting for the rebuttal.
I'm going to check maybe it's the club foot. Could be the club foot. By the way, speaking of yesterday's show, let's see who got through yesterday. It was one I missed on the air. Now I can't find it. I saved it, too. It was a very nice text message. Oh, what an amazing show. It was the Chubby Ninja. What an amazing show yesterday. Mad Dog calls Harbaugh Gandhi, and LSU Lynch calls the Phillip LGB whatever with Aikman. Outstanding, Chubby Ninja. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Thank you for listening. All right. I'm going to have to check that out. By the way, Textman will correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Alabama lose 2 critical wide receivers for all the marbles 2 years ago? May have cost them the game. Yeah, well, one for sure. They did lose 2, but the Jamison Williams, if he's in there, maybe that's a different thing. Yeah, that's a good point by you. It's a good point by you. Unsigned. Ray says, if you want Casey to look at everything with the EKG stress test for a second set of eyes, just let me know. Cardiac ICU nurse. That's from Ray Dog. I think that's Ray Dog. From Ray Dog. I got a really good Dr. Basaraba. I got a really good cardiologist. I like my cardiologist. He's good. But thank you for that. All right, let's get a break. When we come back, Kate, the Michigan fan, is up. You can jump in behind him on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, and pick up the phone to call, one you've seen on a billboard or on TV begging for your business, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center, not in some office 100 miles away. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to. We're the ones that you meet with.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case. You want to talk to me? You just call me.
And we'll take care of it. You worry about getting well. We'll take care of the rest.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Isn't the story of the prodigal son an amazing story? Basically, a rowdy boy who literally wished his father dead ran away and consumed his wealth with hard and fast living. Yet the father looked for his return every day, and when the boy got tired of eating pig slop, he decided to return. What did the father do? As soon as he saw that boy, he ran to him, threw his arms around him, and killed the fatted calf for a great celebration. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of the Cross Point Church. If you're looking for a church home, come see us, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go Higher and go Army.
At Bryant Bank, we recognize your time is valuable, and easy, secure access to your finances is essential. That's why we provide the financial tools you need to manage your money on the go and make life a bit easier. At Bryant Bank, we're here to help with instant debit cards, Apple Pay, person-to-person payments, and more. Bryant bankers want to show you how beneficial our digital banking services can be. Learn more at bryantbank.com. Bryant Bank. Live legendary. Member FDIC.
Listen each Friday to the Woody Anderson Ford High School Football Scoreboard Show, powered by the Huntsville Sports Commission on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Segment of Thom Abraham Show is brought to you by Alumni Hall at Bridge Street for all your Alabama and Auburn gear. It's Alumni Hall. Thinking about gifts for the holidays now. I started doing some gift shopping myself. Alumni Hall is the perfect place for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. And they got gifts. They got tailgating items. They got all the coolest clothing. It's Alumni Hall right next to the Kona Grill across from Connor's Steakhouse. Look the park. Go to Alumni Hall. Let me get, by the way, I went and checked the numbers. Grumpy is absolutely right. Troy Aikman was not a very high-rated quarterback. Now, it was a different era and they didn't throw the ball. They didn't have all the underneath stuff. The reason his quarterback rating was so low was because his completion percentage was, for the most part, under 60%. He had a lot of years he was 58, 59%, but that's because all he did was throw deep then. They weren't dumping and dinking and dunking and that kind of stuff.
Because he was throwing he was throwing 7 for 14 or whatever, and he was throwing.
Well, he was downfield.
Yeah.
Everything was downfield.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all the guys that are at the top of the list now, for the most part, are current guys playing this kind of football. Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson's up there.
And it's another thing, too, since it's been a stat, the yards after catch going to the quarterback, with the receiver. It's
always gone to the quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it didn't, the yards after catch for a receiver, if it didn't go to the quarterback, I think it would be a completely different stat. That's what I'm saying. Like, if the quarterback just threw it
I don't know
for like 10 yards, you know what I mean? And that's where it is, and then beyond the contact.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they would do that.
I don't know how you stat it, but.
No. Keith, the Michigan fan, is up. Keith, welcome to the show. How are you?
Doing all right, big dog. Hey, I watched that game last night, and I was texting a buddy of mine this morning. We was talking about it, to where we both understand why Hunter Dickinson left Michigan. But Michigan played Monday night, and they looked pretty good. So I think we're going to be all right. But the thing is, Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, he went to Michigan.
Right.
He gave Michigan a few years ago, he gave him $50 million for a new engineering building. It looked like we're going to have to get boosters like Texas A&M and Alabama to, pay these players like they do.
Well, they do for football, and that's the thing is that what the stories that I read is that all the money at Michigan is getting thrown at football players and not basketball. They're just not supporting basketball, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see the basketball schools like a Kansas. Most of the money there goes to a basketball player as opposed to a football player. And at Michigan, Michigan has collectives. They've got some very deep-pocketed collectives at Michigan, but that money is staying with the football program.
Yeah, but, hey, if you can build a new school on campus for $50 million, you can take care of the football and basketball team.
Well, you would think, yeah, right.
Yeah, also, it seems like we go through this every year with the SEC trying to get two teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I remember back in the early, I think it was 03, 04 maybe, Michigan and Ohio State 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And Ohio State won the game by 3 points, and people were saying that they didn't want to see those two a rematch for the national title. And then a few years later, Alabama and LSU does the same thing.
Well, the problem with that is that when you've got one conference like the SEC winning 11 out of 13 national championships, facts are stubborn things. I mean, think about it. You got Michigan's won a half a national championship since the 50s, and you got Ohio State that's won a couple, and that's it. I mean, and you've got five different SEC teams that have won national championships. You can't fight the numbers, Keith. You just can't.
I understand that.
Well, I think that's what happens, though. But who do they play? I forget who they play. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I remember that year. Is that the year Ohio State played maybe Florida or Miami in a national championship? Ohio State, Michigan played. They might have been the best two teams in the nation. I think that's the year Ohio State maybe played Miami. I'm not sure. All right, coming up next, David Moulton, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Browns will be without quarterback Deshaun Watson the remainder of the season. He has a fracture in his throwing shoulder, requires immediate season-ending surgery to avoid further structural damage. He suffered the injury in arguably his best game of this season, Sunday's win over the Ravens. Watson's expected to be back for the start of the 2024 season. P.J. Walker, Dorian Thompson-Robinson are the Browns' backups. Since his trade from Houston, Watson's played in 12 games in Cleveland due to injury and suspension. The Browns do have a big game Sunday against the Steelers, a matchup of 6-3 AFC North rivals. The Watson injury has impacted the odds at ESPN Bet for that game. Opening line was Cleveland -4. It is now Cleveland -2.5. Steelers tight end Pat Freiermuth returning to practice today. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, he is tracking to play Sunday. He's been out with a hamstring injury.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Rambo Marine in Hazel Green is your one-stop shop for all things boating. Whether you are ready to surf with the newest Malibu wake boat or cruise on a Cobalt or Barletta pontoon, we have a boat ready for you and your family. Rambo Marine provides exceptional service second to none, so that you are ready to hit the water in no time. Stop by Rambo Marine today. We know boats.
Hey there, UAH fans. I'm Morris Lilienthal. If you've been injured in an accident, visit morristheattorney.com right now to get the help you need. Don't let the insurance company take advantage of you. I have personally helped over 4,000 clients with their injury claims, and I'm ready to help you too. My firm, Martinson & Beeson, has been helping clients for over 80 years, and we have received over 300 5-star Google reviews. Get in touch with me right now by visiting morristheattorney.com. There's no charge for our meeting. Again, that's morristheattorney.com. Look forward to helping you. Go Chargers.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Thom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Did you know that average home equity is at an all-time high? But so is average consumer debt. Even though rates are higher now, you can use your equity to pay off your high consumer debt, student loans, etc., then refi when the rates drop. Don't put off that new home purchase. When rates drop, prices will go up. Buy now and get the best price and then refi when the rates drop. This is the time to talk to the experts at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com for more information.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You chill out when you're supposed to chill out. You work when you're supposed to work. You don't chill out when you're supposed to be working.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The opinions of Thom Abraham are not necessarily the opinions of the radio station or anybody associated with the radio station or ownership. These are strictly his own opinions, and sometimes they're not even his opinions.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The big dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the big dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Remember, we are doing Beat the Big Dog today, and WHNT's Greg Screws is our guest picker. That's coming up a little bit later on in this hour of the show. Since I'm out of the box tomorrow for my heart checkup, we will be doing Beat the Big Dog today. So stay loose. At the end of this segment, we'll tell you what caller you need to be to play Beat the Big Dog. You get a chance to win my tickets to the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, and you'll be able to get the opinions of Greg Screws as well from WHNT. You know what we got to do is we got to get David Moulton in here as a guest picker one of these days and see how he'll do it. I'm sure he'll do it with us, and he's brought to us by our good friends at North Alabama Mortgage. You know, home equity is at an all-time high right now, but so is that average consumer debt. And even though the rates are high now, you can use your equity to pay off the high consumer debt, your student loans and the credit cards and that stuff, and then refi when the rates drop. The other thing that's happened is the prices of new homes have come down a little bit because of the higher interest rates. So don't put off that new home purchase. Go ahead, get the best price on the new house now, and then when the rates drop, again, you can just simply refinance. You know, they can teach you how to do all of that. Just go to NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. Brian Hammaker and his team standing by to help you out, whether you're in Alabama, Tennessee, or Florida. It's North Alabama Mortgage. All right, joining us now as he does each and every week on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, it's the one and only David Moulton from Miller & Moulton in the morning, and also the researcher and spotter for Gary Danielson and Troy Aikman. Works alongside those guys in the booth each and every week. And he joins us now on a Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. David, welcome in. How are you?
I'm good. I have a question.
Fire.
Are the guest pickers any good?
This has been very interesting. We have actually
it's
had
funny.
two...
You're taking 10 seconds. You're hemming and hawing. Chad is shaking his head. No, absolutely not.
Because I'm pulling up the sheet to look at it here on the thing. This is very interesting. We have actually had a high school football coach of note who went 2-4. We had a former Alabama All-American who owns this radio station, West Neighbors. He went 3-3. That was pretty good. We had a sports director at a TV station, 3-3. We've had two professional handicappers. They went 2-4 each. These are against the spread. They went 2-4 each.
Sign me up. I want to do a week.
It's crazy. We had my wife one week to be the guest picker, and she went 1-5. Not good. The only guest picker we've had that had better than a 500 in our 6 games is my 84-year-old father who went 4-2. People were like, get your father to be the guest picker. So a couple of weeks ago, we had my dad be the guest picker, and he is the only one that's had a winning record. So, yeah, we need to get you in here as the guest picker. Steve Moulton did it one week, and he went 3-3. So you could compete against the other Moulton and see if you could just beat a Moulton. That would be a good thing.
Goodness, what I wouldn't give for a 4-2 week. All right.
I got to be honest with you, too. I'm putting together the list of games that we're going to pick this week, and I'm just realizing just how sucky the college card is this week. I mean, this is like the second week of the week. Oh,
it is always sucked this week. In fact, CBS had to beg for them to move the Georgia-Tennessee game to this week. I mean, some of the games that we've aired the week before Thanksgiving, if you will, we aired Missouri at Tennessee one year. Tennessee wasn't even bowl eligible. We did Arkansas, Mississippi State in 2011 when we were getting monster ratings, and Arkansas was like number 3 in the country, and it did a 1-1 rating. I mean, we have had horrendous games this week.
Yeah, but it's not only in the SEC, which, it's always before rivalry week, and they have this tune-up. Remember, back in the day, often there was a bye for, like, Alabama and Auburn always had a bye before that game, and finally the commissioner said, no more. Everybody has to play. So now they're all playing JV games.
They're all playing buys.
Yeah, they're all playing buys. Right. But even in the Big Ten and some of the other conferences, I can't find – I like to usually have 3 college games and 3 pro games. I can't find 3 decent college games. I'm thinking, do I put USC, UCLA in there?
Yeah,
I mean, that's a fun game, color-on-color game, and our friend Thom Luganville is doing that game, so maybe I guess I'll put that in there. But, I mean, it's just terrible. Even Ohio State and Michigan are playing lousy games. Maybe Washington, Oregon State, everybody around here is pulling for somebody to upset Washington because they're the biggest fraud in college football right now. So, I don't know, man. It's a tough card this week.
Yeah, I mean, you can do, Miami, Louisville if you had to. But, yeah, Washington, Oregon State, USC, UCLA, Georgia, Tennessee. Yeah. You can find 3. You just can't find 5.
Well, I'm going to have tomorrow night's Bengals-Ravens game in there because that's a huge game. So we'll have that in there. And,
by the way, Bengals, I believe, have lost their last 12 primetime games, and the Ravens are money in primetime. So you may just want to take that into consideration.
Man, that line went from 2.5 to 4, which is kind of weird after the Ravens lost. And then I'm thinking I'm still going to put man, I'll tell you. I'm still going to put the Browns and the Steelers in there.
Oh, that's so cute of you. That's so nice.
But they're both 6-3. I mean, it's a huge game. I mean, you can't ignore it.
It is a huge game. First 1 to 12 wins. It'll be glorious.
Put the back number in there.
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
You agree, by the way? That was Stephen
A. I mean, to win the division, to make a deep run. But listen, with that defense,
can they make the playoffs? Can they make the playoffs?
Of course they can. With that defense, of course they can make. With P.J. Walker, they beat the Niners. Yes, Can they scratch out 4 more wins and make the playoffs? Absolutely. Can they go on a run? Hell no.
No. Do you think that's the number 10 for everybody? Do you think 10 is the number 10 and 7 get you in?
Tom, first off, the last 2 years in the AFC and NFC, 9 has been the 7 seed. 2 years ago in the AFC, it was Pittsburgh at 9-7-1. Last year it was the Dolphins at 9-8. And this year, I think it's possible now, especially with Deshaun Watson being out for the year, it's possible, Tom, that the right 9 is the 7 seed again this year.
Right now, 5-4 is the last seed in the AFC, 6-4 in the NFC. I don't know if you can get home. I mean, I remember years where 10-6 didn't get you in back in the old days with the 16 game schedule. But the Browns' schedule does set up to the point where at least they have an opportunity here. They're still a 2.5-point favorite over the Steelers. They got the Broncos. I know the Broncos have been playing better lately. They got to go out to L.A. and play the Rams. Come home and play
Tom,
the Jags.
There's so many teams that are 5-4, 5-5, 4-5. That, quite frankly, you could take those games. I mean, look at what the Vikings have done. They had one really big, unexpected win. That was the home game against the Niners. But they've put a 5-game winning streak together here, winning 4 games in which I believe the spread on those 4 games was all like 4.5 or less. And then they upset the Niners in the middle of it.
Yeah. No, that's
if you can get a team that can just manage, have a good month, take care of the cliches, take care of the football, manage the game well. I mean, look at what the Giants did last year. It was a horrible roster. And Brian Daboll and company, finagled their way to 9-7-1. They're one of these AFC teams. I mean, hell, the Colts are 5-5. The Raiders are 5-5. These teams are not good.
No, they're not.
The AFC has fallen apart before our eyes. It's remarkable.
Well, different teams stepped up. I mean, you know who is good is the Houston Texans. I mean, you look at that team. That's a pretty sporty team right now.
Yeah, but Cincinnati's underachieving. Buffalo's underachieving. The Chargers are once again. In fact, they should be renamed.
They always underachieve.
I mean, should we take the Los Angeles part out or the Chargers part out? But we have to work underachieving into that team's name.
Yeah, no, they've got to go. I would be pushing because it's not only now Deshaun Watson, but it's also Nick Chubb. It's also both tackles. They're down to a second and a third string tackle. They lost Denzel Ward and Grant Delpit in the game last week. They did all these, but yet I would say that Kevin Stefanski is in the running for Coach of the Year in the AFC. If it wasn't for DeMeco Ryans, what DeMeco Ryans is doing in Houston is just startling and wonderful to see because he is a great guy.
Happy for him and them. Football means a lot to them. And even though the Astros have had a glorious decade here, it's important to that city and that area that the football team is good. And you can just see it and hear it in the pride that's come out of Houston in the last 2 months because it's been a tough 3+ years there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. So Buffalo fires Ken Dorsey, who has been known to have a fit or two, in the press box. But I'm sitting here saying to myself, wait a minute. If they don't have 12 guys on the field, Ken Dorsey's not fired, right? He doesn't wake up without a job. If they win that game, the kid shanks a 41-yard field goal and finally wide right goes in the benefit of the Bills instead of against the Bills. I mean, how does this – I remember when Bruce DeHaven, who I had an opportunity to work with some and was an outstanding special teams coordinator, he got fired after the Music City Miracle. How in the heck does this special teams coordinator at Buffalo have a job when you can't get the right 11 guys out on the field for a field goal attempt, especially when a couple of timeouts had been called previous to that?
Well, Tom, the head coach is the one handling the defense, and he called the zero blitz on 3rd and long from the 45 when they didn't have any timeouts left, being Denver. He's also the one who called both timeouts and had a chance to make sure. I mean, we all knew it was going to be a fire drill. We knew that Denver, once they took a knee again on 2nd down, you're like, well, okay, I guess they've decided they're going to do 3 knees. They're going to run the kicker out there quickly. So, the head coach could have turned around and counted to 11 just as easily. I mean, they had done this once before. The first half ended the same way. So how in the world they could screw it up when they already had the dress rehearsal and got the dress rehearsal right. So, but the head coach's not going to fire himself.
No, he can't fire himself, but he certainly could have. I mean, I thought firing Ken Dorsey there was a little bit weak. And we'll see what Joe Brady can do. But
listen, he is a coach who is famous for passing the buck. Ask anybody who's covered the Bills in the last 7 years. It's never been his fault. And Dable couldn't wait to get out of there. Leslie Frazier left on bad terms. All right. Trust me, it's never McDermott's fault.
What the NFL is doing by making the Bengals and Ravens play that hugely important game tomorrow night is a travesty. And I don't understand how, from a scheduling standpoint, they cannot simply get this right where teams play their Thursday night game off a bye. I don't get it, why they can't get that done.
Well, I agree with you that they should work a little harder and try to make it so that damn near every Thursday night game is played off a bye. But Tom, once again, you're taking this as if the NFL really treats this league seriously. This is a TV show, Tom. I hate to keep saying that. It's a TV show. And deep down, you know it. Tom,
but they
Amazon's
can still schedule
paying
it.
over
They're
$1
going to give
billion a year. They want good games. They paid $500 million more per year than Fox was paying. They wanted good games. The league said, okay, we can do that.
But they can do that. But they can also schedule them off.
They don't care about the product. They don't care about the product.
I don't care about the game being on Thursday. I care about the game being on Thursday with one-day practice. And you're not have enough time for your body to recover. I'm okay with games.
Josh Dobbs is blowing a hole in all of that. Okay, because he showed up in Minnesota on a Wednesday, and he's 2-0 10 days later. So outside of your body's healing, I don't know how much time you need to prepare.
I will have him beat the big dog today, your game on Monday night. I mean, we can't pass up on the Eagles and Chiefs at the Chiefs. Fantastic game there. A lot of times these games don't live up to the hype, but this is a rematch of the Super Bowl. This was the carrot I thought that the NFL gave ESPN because they didn't give them a great schedule. But this is a game that it seems like they handed them on a silver platter and said, here, we're going to give it a rematch.
Well, they gave them the Bills-Jets Aaron Rodgers debut week 1, and then they gave them for just the second time in the history of Monday Night Football, they're getting the Super Bowl rematch. I mean, think about it. Monday Night Football's been around over 50 years. This is only the second time they've had this game.
Yeah, it's been a minute, that's for sure. I thought the crew did another great job with that game last week. I'm not going to ask you to text Troy with any questions from Philip because now Philip's telling me some story about Troy having leg braces and club feet when he was a kid and everything. And I'm like, I'm not buying that either. And we're not going to text him and ask him. But by the way, did you have leg braces when you were a kid? I'm not going to ask you to ask him that question.
Although I will say I could start to have fun with this and say, hey, it's Philip in Virginia, right?
Yeah, Philip in Virginia. Yeah.
Right. So I could just make this hey, Troy, this is the Philip in Virginia question of the week. And I could just submit it.
Did you have a club foot and did you have to wear leg
right.
braces?
Now, I have to admit, I wish the questions were a little more upbeat. I got to be honest with you.
Well, no, it's upbeat in as much as what he's saying is that this is what this guy has overcome. He's using this as a reason for how the greatness of the man that he overcame these childhood infirmaries, if you will.
You need to go back because I sent you like an article where it was celebrities overcoming club feet, and I'm pretty sure Aikman's one of them. So
Aikman's in
it's somewhere in the Google chat. Yeah,
I got to admit, Tom, I liked it better when you were talking about him and Lori Morgan. I really do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so did
Which is 30 years ago, but that's okay. Bring it up again. I mean, if Philip wants to go back to, I don't know, God knows when. I mean, I
kind of hated that I brought that. Hated that I brought that one up.
Chad, anything you want to know about Troy? Anything?
No, I'm not. No, not at all.
Let me tell you what you. Let me tell you what you.
I don't want to make him mad.
Let me tell you what you can't ask Gary Danielson about. You may know this, but you've known him, I think, longer than I've known him. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've known him 11 or 12 years. You've known him 20 years, probably 18 years. But I tell you what you cannot ask him. Do not ask him about mentoring Bernie Kosar and then Kosar taking over for him at quarterback at Cleveland. That is a sore ass. He gets a red ass about that now. He does not want to talk about Bernie Kosar and the Cleveland Browns situation. And I did not know that. This was about 5, 6, 7 years ago. I went to ask him that, and we were talking off air at SEC Media Days, and I were talking about coach, and he says, you know what, I don't even want to talk about it. Don't even bring it up with me.
Which is interesting because him and I'm not saying this, him and I have talked about that a lot, actually.
On air? On air or off air?
A few times.
Yeah.
A few times, yeah.
I know he didn't want to talk about it on the air with me. That's for sure. But all right, David Moulton.
Do you think maybe? I mean, let's face it, Tom. You and I both can be guilty of this. Sometimes our disposition gets us in trouble. Do you think that was possible?
That is possible. That is absolutely possible. Because he runs into me. He's funny sometimes. All the CBS guys come on. Adam Zucker comes on. I get all the CBS guys on all the time, and he'll come and, he actually came and seek me out at SEC Media Days. Hey, you want to do a segment again? He always comes on during SEC Media Days live, and he comes over and he sets it up and does all of that kind of stuff. And then every once in a while, I'll text him, and he'll say, CBS is giving us a hard time going on ESPN affiliates.
Which is true, by the way.
Which is true. Yeah, I know that ESPN will do that too, but they've eased up. But he says, no, CBS doesn't want us on ESPN affiliates. All right. I don't know what kind of buyout you got. I know I have a major buyout in my contract. I think my owner has to give me, I think it's like $20 and a gift certificate to Baumhauer Sports Grill if he fires me. I think it's something like that. It's definitely golden handcuffs. I mean, it's keeping me at the station. He knows he can't pull the trigger on me because he only has so many trade certificates for Baumhauer's Sports Grill. So I'm pretty much tied to the station. But apparently Texas A&M didn't have a problem scratching a $20 million check and then $7.2 million per year until Jimbo Fisher is 67 years old. So let me ask you, David Moulton, 58 years old, you get a check for $20 million, and then you get $7.2 million a year for the next 7 years. Do you ever work again, period?
I would keep doing the games with Gary and Troy just to get out of the house and have some fun. But no.
Tell them to keep the check? You say, guys can keep the check. Maybe you pick up dinner. You know what I mean? Maybe you pay.
You know how liberal my wife is, okay? My wife gives money away that we don't have. I would take this Jimbo Fisher buyout as an opportunity to catch back up.
Don't tell her. She'll be giving it all away.
Exactly. She wouldn't know for 2 years that I got fired.
She'd be building homeless shelters in Jacksonville.
I'd be afraid that she'd run into somebody and say, hey, it's a tough thing that happened to your husband. What do you mean? Oh, he got fired. He didn't.
Gosh. No, that's all right. So we talked to a guy from Texas A&M from AggieL.com on, I guess, Monday it was. And he said, I asked him how good a job it is. Because Dan Lanning said, no, I'm not going there. And I'm sitting there saying, of course you're not going there. Why would you leave Oregon to go to number 2 in Texas? I mean, let's face it. The Texas A&M is Auburn, over there. It's the way it is. And I don't mean it disrespectfully, but I know they got money and everything else, but it's not Texas, and now Texas is back, and they missed their opportunity. So I asked the guy from AggieL, I said, how good a job is this, really? I mean, who do you draw? How good a job is it? He said there's the Alabama job and then Texas A&M.
Well,
so what's your take on that?
All right. Now, people always thought before Kirby, and you know this, Tom, people always thought that the job in the SEC, okay, yes, Alabama had the tradition, but the job was Georgia. If you wanted to be able to get players within 100 miles of you, okay, that people have always thought Georgia was the sleeping giant, and Kirby has unearthed that. I think A&M should be LSU. I do. I think it should get to that level and stay at it. But clearly they haven't found the guy to do it. By the way,
with Texas right up the road? Even about Texas right up the road? Even with Texas right up the road? Because that's what LSU doesn't have to deal with. Most places,
I know.
They are little brother. They're always going to be little brother there.
No, there's no question. But that's why I'm saying LSU. Like, in theory, Texas is Bama, Georgia. That's what it should be. It should be. Okay? And A&M's shelf should be just one level down. Still pretty damn high up. Altitude, need oxygen occasionally, but not the top tier.
Right. So Dan Lanning.
By the way,
Dan
Lanning, Dan Lanning's going to have the second best roster in the Big Ten next year.
Yeah.
Next to Ohio State. I mean, Oregon is loaded. Loaded.
Well, what about quarterback, though? Because they'll lose Bo, right? I mean,
yeah, they'll be fine.
Bo Nix should be out of there. I mean,
I know. Well, I mean, he's about, 27 years old? I think he's got about 2 years of eligibility left.
He's from our neck of the woods. He's from our listener.
Come on now. He's been around a while.
5 years.
That's
5
all.
years. He's 22, 23, maybe 22.
But he's one of those guys. He's been a starter the whole time. He's been on TV a lot. He's just one of those guys that you think has been around a while. That's all. I mean, when I was growing up, I could have sworn Rick Leach was quarterback of Michigan for the entire decade of the 70s.
Is there any chance Bo Nix gets drafted before Caleb Williams? Some people don't like Caleb Williams. He wants to own the team. He wants to own the football team.
We have to start mandating drug testing at 97.7 The Zone?
Okay.
I mean,
he
seriously.
wants to own the team. He paints his fingernails before the game, and he jumps in his mother's bosom.
No, he paints his fingernails. Oh, well,
and he jumps in his mother's bosom when they lose the game, and he sobs uncontrollably because they lost the football game, jumping in his mother's bosom. I mean, come on. I mean, this guy really. I mean, it's just something that's amiss here. Something is amiss with this kid. I'll take the Drake May first.
Tom, I believe with very talented, quote-unquote, artists, we allow for them to be, what's the word, eccentric. Okay, that's all.
Give me one in the NFL, though, that's had success as a quarterback. I don't know of a guy like that. I mean, they always seem to be
eccentric
diva.
Quarterback?
This eccentric is right next as a cousin to diva, and diva don't win in the NFL.
Cam Newton won an MVP.
Cam Newton was out of the league.
He had like flashy style and everything.
Yeah,
come on now. Come on,
he had a run. He had a run. Cam had a run.
Cam Newton had 7 until Cam Newton got hurt year 8. Cam Newton was having a hell of a career.
He had a run. There was no doubt about it. He had it going on. All right. Always appreciate David Moulton. Does a tremendous job. He will be at Rocky Top. Enjoy that up there. Hopefully that's a pretty good game. I think that could be a pretty good game, even though this is really going to test Tennessee's mettle to bounce back after that whooping that they took at the hands of Missouri.
Here's the problem. When Tennessee can't run, they get their butt kicked.
Yeah.
Or do you think they're going to be able to run against Georgia?
No. They got to keep their divers up, though.
That doesn't bode well because, I mean, they ran for 51 yards against Missouri. How many do we think they're going to run against Georgia? I mean, that to me is the game. Tennessee has to do something up front offensively. They got manhandled by Florida. They got manhandled in the second half by Alabama. They got manhandled for 4 quarters by Missouri. When they run the ball, they're a top 10, 12 team in the country. When they don't run the ball, they're Mississippi State.
I'm looking at my my sheet from July from media days. I had them at 9-3, and I took a lot of crap. I said, no, they're 9-3, and you should feel good about it if you're 9-3. Now they're going to be 8-4. So now they're going to be 8-4. I know that doesn't take a lot of luster off of 10-2. I don't know why I don't even know why they're jerking around with Joe Milton anymore. Why, to get a better bowl game? Maybe they could try and upset Georgia. I would the minute when they got on the plane to go home from Missouri, I would have gone down the aisle, found Nico, and said, all right, you can't burn a red shirt. Not that you're going to use it anyway because you're going to be 3 years and done here. You are our quarterback for the rest of the way and the bowl game. You get 4 games. You get 4 free games.
After Georgia.
Or at halftime. You know, maybe this will be the time that they'll get a chance to get in there. All right. Do you know how to say his name yet? I'm Aleva. Are you good with names? Nico Aleva? I think that's how you say it.
I don't have to do names in my job.
You don't think
I'm not doing play-by-play of this game. If Nessa starts choking on a hot dog, I'll do it. But no.
You don't think Danielson will reach over to you and say, "Give me a phonetics on I'm Aleva"?
On pronunciations, no.
Yeah, pronunciation.
That's where I draw the line.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. We appreciate it. I wish you would draw the line with that Halloween costume. You should have drawn the line right before
It's over. That's it. I explained it to you. That's the last time.
You're retiring it?
Well,
good.
First off, next year Halloween's on a Thursday, and I mean it's not going to be close. Halloween's not going to be on a Monday for 10 more years.
Oh,
Halloween's not going to be the day after Monday for 5 years. So there's really I can't pass off wearing the costume in the next 5 years without just looking like a complete Yahoo.
You can wear it on
and
your
I
show.
only look like a Yahoo when
Can you wear it the Monday before?
No, that's too early.
Is it?
Monday before Thursday?
Like
no,
that
that's
week?
Too early.
It's that week.
No.
Yeah, but it's
Chad, the rule's simple. Somebody in the stadium has to be
like
wearing a Halloween costume.
Oh, they will.
And
they
I
will.
figured there would be people in costume in the stadium. And sure enough, Hutchinson shows up in costume. So I'm like, I'm golden.
You could wear it on your show that Thursday. You can wear it just on the air, and just do it then. So, all right. Appreciate you, man. Good stuff, and we'll chat again next week.
Okay. Listen, I want to be a guest picker.
Next
apparently,
week. You'd have to
guys
double dip.
You pick.
You'd have to
either
come
the
in.
guests suck or the picks suck. One or the other.
Well, it's against the spread now. We don't just jerk around picking, pick a winner. You got to pick against the spread. So there's a reason why there's a spread. There's a reason why everybody and their brother is opening up these betting places, because they win. At the end of the day, they win, not us, okay? It's just the way it is. The only guys that are winning are the guys that are selling their picks, and not the guys that are betting half of the time. All right,
this will
next
be a back up the truck week, a Molten Special, 4 out of 6, guaranteed.
You'd have to double dip next Thursday. It's a 10-minute segment. So if you want to do it, we'll mark it down. Oh, no. Next Thursday's Thanksgiving. Okay, we're going to do it on Wednesday. We're going to do it on your day.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do it next Wednesday. Grizz, don't let me forget that. Next Wednesday, we'll be doing Beat the Big Dog on Wednesday again. So next Wednesday, we'll just use David Moulton since he's on the show anyway. He'll be our guest picker next week.
Chad, did he really just now realize that Thanksgiving's a week from tomorrow?
It's early this year. I got a kid getting married exactly 3 weeks after Thanksgiving.
Next week is Alabama-Auburn. It's Ohio State-Michigan. How could you not know it's Thanksgiving?
How can
My
it be
birthday
already?
is Saturday.
The football season just started. What do you mean it's Iron Bowl week? The football season just started like 20 minutes ago. I can't
Tom,
believe
it's always
this.
Football season on 97.7 The Zone. There's an hour and a half all year you don't talk football.
We spent 42 weeks talking about it. We talk about it for 42 weeks, and it's over in a flash. 40
Chad,
weeks,
what
38
the hell
weeks.
are you guys talking about the other 10 weeks? Honestly, shape up.
Cleveland Browns football.
Oh,
well,
I'm sorry.
We know what the situation is there, and that is a.
I apologize to your audience on behalf of Thom Abraham and everyone associated with the show. I'd like to apologize.
Look it. I know I get a crap. I do not talk about the Browns. I did not talk about them on Monday after they beat the Ravens and this epic comeback, and they've also beaten the Bengals and the 49ers. I did not talk about them at all. But today, listen.
This apology is brought to you by Thom Abraham.
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
That was the story today.
Everyone associated with the Thom Abraham show. Now we're back to regularly scheduled programming already in progress.
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
Stephen A. says it's over. It's over, okay? It's over. I get my Sundays back. All right. Appreciate you again. We'll do it next week.
All right. I'm picking, baby. I'm the guest picker.
The guest picker.
Back up the truck.
By the way, you don't get to know the games until I announce them game by game. So don't text me and say,
I don't even know them either.
Nobody knows the games until I do the games.
The last thing you'd want is your guest pickers to do a little research so they can get them right.
No research. That's part of the charm of this thing is you don't do any research.
Just because you don't prep for your show doesn't mean we can't prep for ours.
Well, I didn't say I didn't prep for them. I know the picks because I pick the games. So I know what they are. That's my advantage. All right. We'll talk to you next week.
Rigged.
Yeah, it is rigged. No doubt about it. David Moulton has been our guest. All right, David. All right, Grizz, let's make it fast so that we can get to it. Caller number 2. All right, caller number 2, 256-576-4977. Caller number 2 plays Beat the Big Dog. Next, Greg Screws will be your guest picker on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
With us today, Dr. Tracy Lowry of Best Vein Care of Huntsville.
When we evaluate a patient and they indeed have significant venous disease, most third-party payers, private insurance, Medicare, require us to treat every patient conservatively at least 90 days. Conservative treatment includes increasing ambulation, elevation of the legs, and the wearing of compression stockings. It's very common for folks to come see us in March or April wanting to have their veins fixed before they go into swimsuits starting in June. When we see someone in March or April, they're going to require at least 90 days of conservative treatment before we can even go to the insurance carrier to get permission to treat their veins. So if you think you have a venous problem, now is the time to come in and get a free screening so we can determine whether or not you need something evaluated. If you have a vein problem or you think you may have a vein problem, now's the time to contact us at bestveincarehuntsville.com.
What's better than 2 end-zone sports bars? 3 end-zone sports bars. And we have you covered with our original location on University across from Red Lobster, in Jones Valley on Cecil Ashburn near Carl T. Jones, and our newest location in the Midtown District on McMurtry Drive opposite the Target Plaza. All locations feature the NFL Sunday Ticket, Tuesday half-price burgers, and Wednesday $1 jumbo wings all day long. You're never far from the end zone. End Zone Sports Bar.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budget and energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Thom Abraham here for my friends at North Alabama Mortgage. Are you thinking about home improvements? Well, use your equity now and refi later. Or use your equity to eliminate consumer debt forever, then refi to a lower rate and shorter term when rates drop. North Alabama Mortgage can also help you if you're thinking about buying an investment property or a second home at the lake or the beach or in the mountains. We have great programs to make that happen. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
Work injuries happen in Alabama all the time, whether it's an accident at work, getting injured, lifting heavy objects, hurting your hands on a machine, or just performing the same movement over and over until your body breaks down. But when it happens, there's only one law firm to call in Alabama. That's Pond Lehocky Giordano. For personalized legal support, reach out to Pond Lehocky at 855-774-3838 or pondlehocky.com.
The representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Cooler this afternoon with scattered showers in the forecast. Temperatures only climbing into the mid and upper 50s. A couple of folks could see the low 60s. We're dropping into the low and mid 50s through the overnight, early Thursday morning. Partly sunny sky Thursday afternoon. Very small opportunity for rain. Many of us stay dry. Highs climbing into the mid and upper 60s. Dropping into the mid 50s overnight, early Friday morning. A mostly cloudy sky Friday afternoon. A couple of scattered showers are going to be possible. Temperatures climbing into the mid 60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Listen to the Bama Recap Show each Sunday morning at 11, presented by Freedom Marine Center on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Today is brought to you by our fine folks at the service department at Woody Anderson Ford, where they are not only experts in the service of Ford and other makes, but they use the genuine Ford and Motorcraft parts on every Ford service jobs. Remember, they're doing tire rotation and wheel alignment and brake jobs and oil changes and engine tune-ups and training work. They do it all at the service department and a quick lane tire and auto center down there for your Ford or other makes. They got dependable service no matter the make or model. They got a great body shop as well. They'll take care of your insurance on the body shop order as well. They do it all. It's and don't forget the certified gold pre-owned vehicles and the new inventory. They're at the corner of Sparkman and Jordan Lane. Everybody knows that, but it's also WoodyAndersonFord.com. WoodyAndersonFord.com. Make your appointment at WoodyAndersonFord.com. Those of you that are listening out of the area, also go to WoodyAndersonFord.com because you can buy vehicles right there. As well. It's the only place I've gone to in the Tennessee Valley since 2004. It's my place. It is WoodyAndersonFord.com. gmail.com. Well, you know what time it is. It's time for a little...
You know, there are rules to success, my friends. Rule number one is know what you know what you don't know, and know that I gotta know everything you know as soon as you know it.
Now, this is going to be a good one. We got Redneck Romeo. He is our listener contestant, and Greg Screws is in to attempt to beat really Olivia Whitmire. That's the only thing he's got to try and do now.
I don't know how to say this without sounding a little rude, but you're a lemon.
Be a lemon. Be a lemon now. We don't want you to be a lemon. So, Greg, welcome into the show. How are you?
I'm doing great. I appreciate it. Let me just tell you, there is nothing funnier than a cranky Thom Abraham and a cranky David Moulton talking and arguing. It makes my day. It keeps me ready to go into the newsroom every day. I love it.
Well, I had to wake up this morning
The Cleveland Browns season is over.
I had to wake up to that this morning. So I'm like,
I know. Oh, there you go. I get it.
We're finally, maybe we're turning a corner, and here we go, and boom, there you go. You get that. But that's good. That's good stuff. David and you are kindred spirits. He was a TV guy for about 19, 20 years.
For
years and years. Yeah. Yeah, he was a TV guy back in the day, and that's how we met in Florida. He was doing afternoon drive. I was doing morning drive in Fort Myers, Florida, but he was still doing he was the sports director at the ABC affiliate there in Southwest Florida. And then he decided that whole TV thing just wasn't worth it anymore. It's amazing how many people on the sports side have kind of vacated that, Greg, to be honest with you. I mean, it seems like they went from having 5-6 minutes to 3 minutes to a minute and a half. And, even back in Nashville, where I was before this, there's several people that are in radio now that were former sports directors at television stations that just don't give sports enough love anymore.
Well, when I I worked in Birmingham for a while, and we covered Alabama and Auburn the way big cities cover NFL teams, and
sure,
and people that sit in offices and at corporate offices, they decide where the resources are going to go, but the thing is, it's like the whole industry now. Newsrooms are smaller, sports departments are smaller, and it's that lean and mean thing, and that's kind of the way that everything's going.
I was shocked when I was in Florida at how much, now this is 20 years ago, but how much money the weatherman was making. And then down there, though, with the hurricanes and stuff, I mean, those guys were getting all the time they need, beginning of the broadcast, middle of the broadcast, at the end of the broadcast. And some of those guys were strong six figures to be the weather guy in Hurricane Alley. It just was the way it is. But, that's an important thing. Nobody gets hurt if the football team loses. You can get hurt if they don't get the weather right.
Yeah, I couldn't do the weather thing because I couldn't do math. I'm math challenged, and if you poll a lot of news anchors, that's why they're news anchors, because they can't do math. And the chief meteorologist, and ours is Danielle Dozier, by the way, gratuitous plug. She's like really smart the way most chief meteorologists are.
How bad is this going to be for you if young Olivia ends up? I mean, she went 3-3 last week, so she didn't set the bar too high. But on the other hand, she didn't have a losing week either. She was 3-3. She was right at that Mendoza line against the spread. How bad will this be for you if you got to walk around all the way until next year, having Olivia say that she did better than you in picking the games?
Well, I'll put it like this: Olivia has a very robust personality.
Yeah, she does.
I will never hear the end of it.
Yeah.
There'll probably be signs in the parking lot. So yeah, I need to beat Olivia. At least do as well. It'd be nice if I could beat Olivia because I will never hear the end of it.
Her parking spot, it won't say reserved for sports director. It'll say reserved for the girl that beat Greg Screws and beat the big dog. That's what it'll say.
Yeah, it'll be on a T-shirt.
Yes, it will be a T-shirt. I beat Greg. Yeah, exactly. That's good stuff.
Oh my gosh.
All right, Redneck Romeo, welcome to the show. You know how this works, right? You have a chance to win tickets to the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, right?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for it.
All right, so you get a chance. We're going to go every other, and you'll hear Greg's pick, and you'll hear the Grizz's pick, Grizz the Greek, with him making his picks as well before you make your pick, and then mine. Do you want to go first on the first game, or do you want to go first on the second game?
I'll go first.
All right, so you're going to go first on the first game, and so we'll start off with Grizz. And Grizz, our first game is the one that will happen in Knoxville. Georgia is a 10.5-point favorite at Tennessee. What do you got?
Man, the way that Missouri dismantled the Volunteers, I really thought they were going to bounce back. And I haven't heard any of those Tennessee fans that were calling in a couple of weeks ago saying that Tennessee's going to win that Missouri game and upset Georgia and play for the SEC championship game. Because right now, you're about to get a mud hole stomped in you, if I can quote Drew DeArmond, and Georgia's going to be all over them. So, yeah, give me Georgia to cover.
So he says Georgia. Greg, Georgia minus 10.5 at Tennessee.
Well, the last 9 games against the spread, Georgia's 8-1, and I agree. Tennessee is going to have a hard time running against them, and I just think Georgia covers that easy. I really do.
All right, Romeo, what do you think? Georgia minus 10.5 at Tennessee.
I'm going against the trend. I think Georgia's got Bama on their mind, and they win by 8.5. 8.
All right, so you're going to take the 10.5 points at home with Tennessee. I am tempted to, but in the end, I think Georgia is. They've just been moved back up to number 1 in all of the polls. I think they're feeling good. I think they're hitting their stride. I think Tennessee's Dauber is down, and I do believe that they will have a heck of a time if they can't run the ball. What do you do with Joe Milton, who struggles to throw the ball? I'm going to take Georgia. I'll lay to 10.5. It'll be close. Georgia pulls away in the fourth quarter, wins that game by 14 to 17 points. I've got Georgia, and I will lay to 10.5. All right, now we reverse the order for the next game, and this is a game that will be played tomorrow night in the NFL. So we're going kind of in the order of the NFL games to be played. But tomorrow night, the Bengals get 3.5 at the Ravens. The Ravens coming off a loss. They're very good on primetime. They're very good off a loss. I think the Bengals are kind of circling the drain a little bit, even though they started playing better for a minute. I think Joe Burrow and the Bengals struggle at the Ravens. 3.5 is not enough. I think the Ravens get their groove back, especially maybe even energized a little bit by the injury to Deshaun Watson, knowing that they can pull away from the Browns here a little bit, possibly. I will take the Ravens. I will lay the 3.5 in a game that I refuse to watch because I hate both of these teams. But I'll take the Ravens minus the 3.5. Grizz, what do you think?
I'm going to take the Bengals here. I still think the Ravens are going to end up winning this game, possibly by a Justin Tucker field goal. But I just don't know what's going to show up out of that Cincinnati offense, and until I really see them kind of make a change and maybe upset them here, in the Ravens. I still think the Ravens will win the game, but the Bengals will cover.
All right, Greg. The Bengals get 3.5 at the Ravens.
Yeah, I'm going with the Ravens. I just think that whole thing about you don't know what's showing up for Cincinnati, and if they don't show up against that team, it's going to be bad. And I really like the Ravens going to the Super Bowl, so I'm going to go with them. I'm going to go with them laying the 3.5.
I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson in big games, but okay, Romeo, what do you think? The Bengals get 3.5 at the Ravens.
I'm going to take the Bengals.
All right, you got the Bengals and you got the 3.5 points as well. So we're all split on that one. All right, next game is the other game that will be played in the AFC North, and the Browns were a 4.5-point favorite. The injury news came out. It went down to 2.5, 1.5 in some places. The Steelers get 1.5, Grizz, at the Browns. What do you got?
You don't have a quarterback. I feel like that the Steelers are playing really good football right now. It's basically a pick 'em. Give me the Steelers.
All right, you got the Steelers. Greg, the Steelers get 2.5 at Cleveland.
So, first, though, it occurs to me, has anybody ever whiffed completely on this?
Ofer? No, we've never had an – my wife went 1-5. That's the low water mark. She went 1-5. Yeah.
Oh, my chest is starting to hurt. Anyway, I don't understand why the line only changes a point or a point and a half after injury news like that. I really don't get that. Why? But I'm going to go with the Steelers. I think that's a no-brainer, but which just pretty much guarantees Cleveland will win now.
That would warm the cockles of my heart. Romeo, what do you think? The Steelers get 2.5 at the Browns.
Hey, I like P.J. Walker. I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah, I like the defense, and I also like the fact that the Steelers have been outgained in all 9 games this season.
Yeah.
They're doing this with smoke and mirrors, okay? That team is not that good. And if Cleveland's defense needs to score a touchdown or block a punt or block a kick or something like that, they'll do it. I mean, they've been playing that way defensively. I think that the crowd is going to be very much energized. It's going to feel like an SEC game there in terms of the crowd wanting to kind of pick the team up, knowing that they've lost their quarterback and so on. I think it's going to be great energy in the stadium. They lost the game to the Steelers that they really should have won by 10 points, and they lost it on 2 defensive scores. The Steelers never snapped the ball inside the Browns' 20-yard line, and that was in Pittsburgh, okay, in that game. So I'm leaning on the defense here. I'll take the Browns, and I'll lay the 2.5 points in that one. All right, next one. The Titans, they go to the Jags. The Titans are getting 6.5 at the Jaguars. Now, this was a no-brainer to me, automatic Jags, and then they got stomped last week. I mean, they got destroyed by the 49ers, and I know the 49ers, but they had lost 3 straight games. So now I'm wondering about this 6.5. Is it too much? I'm actually going to take the Titans. They're going to lose this game 3 or 4 points, but 6.5 is a lot. I'm going to take the Titans to be sporty and just hang around in this game against the Jags. Don't like them to win, but I like the 6.5. Grizz, what do you think?
The Titans did not play very well away at Buccaneers last week. I don't know. I think the Jaguars might have this division, and I think that I know it's a division game. It's gonna be tight. You know your opponent really well, but I think Trevor Lawrence had a bad game last week. I think he'll bounce back this week, and I don't know. I think is this Vrabel's last year or like what's going on? So I give me the Jaguars here.
All right, you got them. Greg, the Titans get 6.5 at the Jags.
I think there's a lot of drama with the Titans off the field right now, and I'm going to go with the Jags. I just think they bounce back.
All right, Redneck Romeo. Titans get 6.5 at the Jags. Where are you at on?
I'm on Jags.
All right, so I'm out on an island on that one. All right, let's go back to the college game for this next one. This is amazing, okay? This is why I call Washington the biggest fraud in the poll right now, because everybody's still giving them love. They're 10-0. They got to be number 5 and all this stuff. Do you know Washington is getting 2.5 points at Oregon State at Corvallis? Washington gets 2.5 at Corvallis. Grizz, what do you think?
That's insane. Because last week I got really lucky with the Utah game. Utah should have won that game, honestly. Even though they still covered. But it's just ridiculous that they even get any points at all. But give me it's at Oregon State, right?
Yep.
Yeah, give me Oregon State at home. Give me Oregon State at home.
All right, you got them. All right, Greg, what do you think? Washington gets 2.5 at Oregon State.
There are some crazy statistics out there about how well Oregon State has played at home, and I think they win. And I really, and I feel bad. I really like Washington's quarterback. I think he's overcome a lot, from when he was in Indiana. And I just think he's fun to watch. He's supposed to be a really cool kid, and I'm kind of a fan of his. But I think Oregon State wins that game pretty easily. I think they do.
Wow, I know Alabama fan is cheering right now. They need that. All right, Redneck Romeo, what do you think? Washington gets 2.5 at Oregon State.
This has got obvious road all over it, so I'm picking Washington.
Yeah, this is like a motto, right? Master of the obvious and go the other way. I've vacillated on this game back and forth, but I do think the bubble bursts here. I think it is time for Oregon State to get this win here. I also like these games where the teams that are stuck in the Pac-2 for next year are playing a team that's leaving the conference. And I think that kind of adds to the red butt that they have. So I'm going to take Oregon State. I'm going to take Oregon State as well. All right, last game. I'm first on this one. Monday Night Football, the rematch of the Super Bowl. It's Philadelphia getting 2.5 at Kansas City. Kansas City won the Super Bowl. Philadelphia comes in there getting a couple of points. KC has been kind of up and down the last few games. I'll tell you what. I think Philadelphia's going to get them here. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia. The points, it's almost a pick 'em here. It's under that magic number of 3. So the points aren't really too big a factor, but I'll take Philly plus the points here to do something substantial at Kansas City. Grizz, what do you think?
It's still Patrick Mahomes. They're at home. It's 2.5. Give me the Chiefs.
All right, you got them. Greg, what do you think?
Well, I think the Chiefs are on an absolute mission because they know if they lose this game, the only storyline is going to be, well, Travis Kelce went to Argentina to see Taylor Swift.
Oh, boy.
To save us from that narrative, which will come out of ESPN for how God knows how long, the Chiefs are on a mission to win that game, and they will.
All right, so they win one for Taylor. All right, so what do you think, Redneck Romeo? What's going to happen here? Philadelphia gets 2.5 at KC.
I'm going to put your butt on the island again by yourself. I'm going with Kansas City.
All right, so in summation, in terms of me versus the listener, Redneck Romeo, I've got Georgia, you got UT. I've got the Ravens, you got the Bengals. We both have the Browns. I got the Titans, you got the Jags. I got Oregon State, you got Washington. I got Philly, and you got KC. So somebody's going to go down in flames here, man.
Wow.
Somebody's going down in flames, that is for sure. All right, Greg, we appreciate you for being a good sport, and good luck. For your sake, I hope you can get this done.
Absolutely. I appreciate the invitation. I enjoy the show. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you. Appreciate you. All right, so there you go. Good luck, Redneck Romeo, and,
Hey, good luck to you tomorrow also, Tom. Best wishes, prayers.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm accepting. I'm not too proud. Thanks for the call, Redneck Romeo. I am not too proud to accept prayers. You guys want to say, send up a good word to the big man for me tomorrow that I get a good report, that'd be fantastic. And whatever it is, but I wouldn't mind having a good report. I don't want to have to exercise that buyout contract and have Wes give me a $20 bill and a gift certificate to Baumhauer's Sports Grill.
Not a bad deal.
All right, Grizz, that was fast. Grizz has got the show tomorrow with, I think, the other Moulton. Steve Moulton is going to jump in with him tomorrow. So they'll have a good show for you tomorrow. I'll be back on Friday. Up next, it is the Paul Feinbaum Show on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming